Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Lia Kamilatun Nikmah, NIM 2021-32059. I'm from EED C class. In this video, I will raise a topic that is closely related to women: sexual violence, the threat of a safe space for women. What do you think of when you hear the word sexual assault? Sexual harassment is all forms of behavior with sexual connotations that are carried out unilaterally and are not desired by the victim. Forms of sexual harassment can be in the form of speech, writing, symbols, signs, and actions. Actually, harassment is part of sexual violence, which is currently better shown as sexual crime, which consists of many forms, and one form of sexual violence in the form of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment itself is considered a crime against human dignity related to body and sexuality, especially for women who are of full concern. Recently, during the COVID-19 pandemic, cases of rape and harassment that befell women in Indonesia are increasing and sticking out to the public. The current case of sexual harassment is very concerning because it has occurred in several places that we considered as safe and comfortable places, namely as happened in educational institutions, which are institutions to shape character and personality. Pesantren, which is the best and safest place cases of sexual harassment can occur. In the understanding of society in this country, women are often placed in the second position, so that women are figures who always have to be submissive and obedient in all things. Such a societal mindset allows for reasonable and unreasonable restrictions on the movement of women, and greatly affects the public's view of a decent position for women, so that it is not uncommon for women to become people who are persecuted in society. Many victims of sexual violence choose to remain silent and don't report to the authorities. Because of what? Because the rape victim has the potential to become a suspect in the crime of adultery if the perpetrator admits that sexual intercourse occurred on the basis of consensual consent. Meanwhile, in many cases of sexual harassment, victims find it difficult to prove the truth of violence in rape. In such circumstances, women victims of sexual harassment will be increasingly afraid to report and as a result cases of sexual violence will increase. And this has a negative impact of mental health and also a person's physiological state. Law enforcement officers need to be firm in cases like this. The community and families know very well that cases of sexual harassment like these often experience unsatisfactory relations for victims and their families. The Indonesian government is considered to have paid less attention to the protection of women and gave punishment to the perpetrators. In addition, the community must also change the mindset so as not to blame the victim. It's wrong. Whatever the reason, women shouldn't be raped or harassed. The state is obligated to protect its citizens from sexual violence, and the government has made a draft law on the crime of sexual violence, or we usually call a RUU TPKS, or Rencana Undang-Undang Tindak Pidana Kekerasan Seksual, for the prevention and treatment of existing sexual violence. In recent weeks, the public has urged the government to immediately ratify the TPKS bill so that women in Indonesia have sufficient space to get a sense of security again. And finally, the TPKS bill was enacted and ratified into the TPKS law by the Dewan Perwakilan Rakyat or DPR on Tuesday, April 12, 2022. So, that's my opinion on sexual violence against women. The government and society are expected to be more united in fighting the problem of sexual violence. And victims are expected to have the courage to speak up, report their case if they experience sexual harassment. So, that's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.